The Worf and Riker Show, Episode 1. Kapla Worf, Kapla Riker. Ladies and gentlemen, on today's show we have the universe's most nonsensical thought process, two of the largest crisps in the universe, not even surpassed in the Epsilon Quadrant, where our show is filmed, David Hasselhoff, ancient human TV star, doing impressions of famous political demagogues from across the ages. So, without further ado, our first segment. Ray Cokes, MTV's Most Wanted studio. Troy is interviewing Ray Cokes. So, Ray, Starfleet Records informed me that your ancestor invented the very first egg and spoon race. That's right, Councillor Troy. Martin Cokes invented the egg and spoon race in 1287 in a prisoner of crusades camp in what would today be central Beirut, not far from the cinema in present-day Beirut. And our records also show that this extraordinary inventor also articulated the most nonsensical thought process in the entire universe. He did, Troy, he did. Will you, Ray, give us a breakdown of what that nonsensical thought process was, if you could? To be honest, the idea is too nonsensical for even myself to be able to articulate, but fortunately Wicket W. Warwick has agreed to explain it for you. Camera zooms in on screen showing Wicket W. Warwick, who is doing a handstand on Dagobah while balancing Yoda in the air on his left foot and lifting a rock into the air with the force. Wicket W. Warwick, will you explain to the audience at home what the most nonsensical thought in the universe is? I see, Sir Luke. Thank you, Wicket. Wakula Folafina. Back to you in the studio, Commander Riker. Interior Wolf and Riker studio in the Epsilon Quadrant. Before our segment on extremely large crisps, we have a special new game show to help bridge the gap between homophobic men and attention-seeking gay men, hosted by Graham Norton and Jean-Paul Gaultier. Sit back, have a glass of prune juice, and enjoy the first episode of Man or Minger. Interior Man or Minger set. Graham Norton is dressed as Superman. Welcome, viewers, to the first of many fun shows where we combine sensationalism with a complete lack of sincerity on anyone's part about equality or even rational behavior when it comes down to it, with a corporate lust for profit and with the lowest common denominator we can use to trigger viewers or reactionary attitudes towards us, which drive the power of our brand up among those who enjoy being fed the bills we produce. In short, 10 gay men and 10 mingers are stuck in a room drinking booze with our contestant, who is either a man who claims he's gay but his friends and family say otherwise, or a man who claims he is not gay but his friends and family say otherwise. The first man or minger to seduce the contestant wins £100,000. So on to our first contestant, Bill Maher. Bill Maher, or is it Maher? It doesn't really matter, he's a twat anyway. Are you going to fuck a man or a minger tonight? Step on down. Bill Maher is ushered forward by Graham Norton's security people, led by Martin Short, obviously, who abducted him from some far more sleazy place than the set of Man or Minger, and showed him the Epstein file contents, which had been forwarded to Norton, guaranteeing his cooperation. Interior Wolf Riker Studio, Epsilon Quadrant. And we'll get back to that later in the show to see how old Bill Maher is doing. And now crisps. Crisps were famously invented by the English on planet Earth, by shareholders in dental and gum healthcare facilitators in the pre-intergalactic era. For some reason, nobody thought to tell the humans to stop making crisps, when they could have any number of particularly fine foods which don't harm their gums or teeth at all, or cause the digestive problems associated with eating an object which is often 30 to 40% oil. And so today, in Yorkshire, the two largest crisps in the entire universe have both been made. One of them is salt and vinegar, the other is ale and cheese. I like the sound of those. The third biggest one is beetroot and cumin, but it is smaller than the largest crisp made by Ferengi crisp producers, who stole the idea from the humans because of how much the profit margin is on a crisp. It is literally the most profitable consumable item in space today, if you can get hold of it and find people to buy it, of course. Cut to exterior Yorkshire. Troy is standing interviewing some Northern English people sitting around a table preparing to tuck into a piece of the giant crisps. Troy, as you can see, the lifespan of a crisp is short. even the largest crisp in the universe. The people start tucking in. Troy interviews them one by one. They are Martin Clunes, Jennifer Saunders, and Prunella Scales. Guys, tell me your first impressions of this record-breaking pair of crisps. The universe wants to know how they are. Good crisps? Not really. I prefer prawn cocktail myself. Crisps? I see. I was wondering why nobody gave me a fork. The finest... Clunes eats the crisps. The finest crisps known to man, undoubtedly. Aren't you the one on Star Trek with the Polish accent? Don't be stupid. It's not Polish. It's Colombian. Thanks, guys. Back to you in the studio. As you can see, all is normal here in England, on planet Earth, in the Alpha Quadrant. Worf and Riker Show, Epsilon Quadrant. Humans, eh? You are a human, Commander, or had you forgotten? Ah, yes, good point. I had forgotten, sorry. Good point. And now, viewers, a trailer for the new Jurassic Park film, Jurassic Ass Motherfuckers, starring Eddie Murphy as a police detective working in a world where dinosaurs and humans live together, and Murphy's boss is a Farsasaurus Rex, while the gangland criminal overlord they're hunting is a Diplodocus. Coming to a streaming pirate channel near you. Cut to exterior back of truck facing road. Eddie Murphy, a Fruitosaurus, and a Blossom from the TV show are negotiating for some bootleg cigarettes. Hey, Fruitosaurus, I don't like the look of your partner. Do you smell pork? No, I don't smell pork. I just think she looks too preppy. Blossom, man, can't you lose the frumpy, overprivileged trophy Jewish girl look? Think Maggie Smith circa 1976. You can't expect a sheltered suburbanite raised on domesticity and hyper-emotional televised fiction to behave like a self-generated Oscar Wilde character. He's right, Blossom. I don't know about that pretentious shit about the self-regeneration thing, but you're definitely the wrong actress. Somebody get me Kathy Burke. Kathy Burke is cast as second criminal, and Blossom goes off to a pie and reproduction conference party coffee morning in a random suburban location somewhere not currently designated as a war zone by corporations. Kathy Burke, I don't know what you want or who stretched your mouth into a permanent grin, but I don't trust you. Fruitosaurus, mate, this man's a copper. We should skedaddle. Come on, he can't be. This is a screenplay, you Paleolithic nonce. Eddie Murphy is, as is his custom, playing some unorthodox law enforcer or establishment figure using an outward show of outrageous defiance and unorthodox behavior to mask his true enforcer for the elite's identity. He's a cop, the fuzz, 5-0, the man. All right already. You've made your point, Kathy. Shit, some of that stuff really hurts me emotionally, but I'm going to let you off because don't you comprehend, mate? I'm Kathy Burke. The author of this screenplay has done you up like a kipper. I'm going to spend the whole film smugly deriding your cheerful kowtowance to tyrannies composed of state-funded corporate entities. This is my film, not yours. You should have kept the bat mitzvah girl. Cut to interior Wolf Riker Show studio in the Epsilon Quadrant. Watch Eddie Murphy's new film, apparently co-starring Kathy Burke, to find out what happens. The film is called Jurassic Ass Motherfuckers. Close your eyes and block your ears now for about 20 seconds if you want to miss the spoiler scene moments before the end of the film. Cut to exteriors. Baddie Goon Mega Mansion and Armory. Kathy Burke has eaten Eddie Murphy and Blossom and has rung up the film's catering manager to complain about the quality of the food. You call that a pie? You what? Don't you come at me, mate. My ancestors invented your toilet seat of a country. You want to see real food? I'll show you the menu at my local, the Lard and Opinions. You can get a pie there, which has a pie inside it. Yeah, a pie inside a pie. Who do you think America was invented by, you anorexic robot fart? Cut to Wolf and Riker Show, Studio Epsilon Quadrant. We have news that an even bigger crisp than the crisps seen in Yorkshire earlier on the show have come into existence as a result of an accident in a Ferengi research and development facility. More from Troy. Cut to interior spaceship with Troy in the foreground and a giant crisp on the screen depicting what's in front of them in space. Troy is interviewing the ship's captain, Ferris Bueller. Captain Bueller, tell me more about this giant crisp. Well, apparently someone provided incorrect dimension data to a Ferengi crisp production equipment manufacturer for a bespoke job, and the first crisp it produced was so large that the planet on which it was manufactured was pulled into the crisp's orbit and accidentally collided as a result with the local sun. Fortunately, the entire planet was automated, so only agricultural life was lost in the accident and shareholders' profits. The crisp itself has already become inhabited by very drunk football hooligans looking for something crunchy and salty to eat, and a temple celebrating the churlishness of Jimmy Nail has been built near a slightly overcooked browned area of the crisp itself. What's your mission here, Captain? Is this giant crisp dangerous? Will its structural integrity hold? No, I have to attend a friend's stag night, and I was thinking about hauling the entire crisp there as a kind of cult of personality stunt. What about the people on its surface? Oh, they'll be welcome at the party, don't worry. Bueller commands his crew to put the crisp in a tractor beam, and they do so, and his ship moves off towards the stag party. Back to you in the studio, Commander Riker. Looks like not much going on here for now. Interior Wolf and Riker show in the Epsilon Quadrant. We'll go back to that story as it develops. And now, as promised, David Hasselhoff doing impressions of political demagogues from across the ages. David will do the impression, and the audience will try to guess who he is portraying or quoting. They're in random historical order so that it's not too easy for the audience to extrapolate just from the order of the impressions. Let's see if you bastards can do 90. I will now invite audience members to guess who said that line. I see Bob Mortimer has his hand up already. Bob, what's your guess? Is it Smokey and the Bandit? That is not the correct answer. The audience may take further guesses. I see Bono thinks he knows the answer. Bono, what's your guess? I'd like to dedicate this song to NATO themselves. It's called Tomorrow Afternoon More Resource Reallocation. That is not the correct answer. The audience may take one further guess. Phil Hartman, you know the answer. I do, Worf. It's said by the propagandist Marty McFly about some Libyans he's trying to racially stereotype in order to undermine a Libyan government which has transformed an impoverished, illiterate society into one with an 80% literacy rate and a burgeoning middle class because of the Libyan government's ideas about African unity and economic sovereignty for the continent of Africa, because the Libyan government's ideas about African unity and economic sovereignty for the continent of Africa misalign with the intentions of Michael J. Fox's paymasters. That is the correct answer. You have beaten David Hasselhoff in the first round, and he therefore won't be back until next week when he can try to outsmart the audience again with an arcane quote from a carefully concealed demagogue in some part of history, barren of integrity and excellence. And we have more from Graham Norton. It seems Bill Maher has been seduced by two mingers who are sharing the money between them and have apparently left him arguing with an AI bot program to keep deflecting his a priori that Muslim humans are evolutionarily beneath him while they spend the cash on indulging themselves remorselessly. And finally, it seems there is an update on the Ferengi Crisp situation over to Troy on Captain Bueller's starship, the Starship Preppy. Interior Starship Preppy. It is now possible to see that the ensign is David Hyde Pierce and the number one officer is Commander Cameo, i.e. the musician who made Word Up. Captain, the crisp is starting to break up. I could have told you this would happen, but oh no. You're the spontaneous, casual, too cool for school king of the wing, Ferris Bueller. Isn't there some way we can just refit the pieces of crisps together and then kind of a light glows on the lines and they all end up gone and it's all a full crisp again? Like in sci-fi shows on TV. Exactly. No, that's fantasy. We can't do anything like that. Captain, the individual crisp pieces have their own centers of gravity and are becoming planets in their own right, apparently taking up orbit around a nearby star. Well, studio, it looks like the crisp pioneers can carry on their jingoism and boozing and team sports on new planets made out of crisps in orbit of this nearby star, Zog 223. Did you say Zog 223? Yes, Captain. Is there a problem? They look at the screen showing the giant broken crisp pieces floating in space in front of them, and suddenly a huge creature with a football shirt, boozed up, tattooed with various jingoistic emblems and phrases and shouting incomprehensibly yet vigorously and relentlessly, eats the crisps and wanders off into space. That's a great boo. Great boos are a species exactly like human football hooligans, but 90,000 times the size of humans, otherwise exactly the same in every way. What goes around comes around. Back to you in the studio, Commander Riker. Wolf and Riker studio show in the studio in the Epsilon Quadrant. And that's all for today's show. We'll be back in the next episode with the universe's most punitive method of behavior modification or control, a bona fide all-you-can-eat restaurant which prisoners are not allowed to leave until they have literally eaten every possible food they could ever eat, a feat few ever manage once inside. And we'll be sending Troy to interview the Borg themselves about their notorious anti-union stances. And there'll be music from Wayun, Dukan Rex, Goran Agar, Ixtana Rax, and their band of Jem'Hadar musicians, formerly the Pet Shop Boys tribute band, but transformed by their success, particularly on Bejor, where their song Wormhole in My Heart was #1 in the charts for 3.5 months, now known as the Intergalactic Jem'Hadar Ska Mission. Good night, everyone, and good night, everyone else, too. End episode theme music, Right Said Fred Bernard Cribbins.